Man, there's a lot to celebrate, and we hope you're feeling that. We have one more kind of acknowledgement to celebrate, and it all just happens to be coming together on the same day. You might not know it, but by being a part of this church community, you've been changing lives for 30 plus years on the other side of the world in the eastern part of Africa. You've been helping people escape the bondage of poverty. You've been helping people learn to start jobs, start businesses, and change their family's future. So we're going to actually take a moment to receive the offering while I invite my friends, Wendy and Peter, to kind of lead us and share a little bit of an update about what's been happening in Kenya and what the work that they're doing. So I'm going to invite the team to come forward whenever they're ready, but we're going to start talking about it. Now, Wendy, you told me yesterday your age. I won't tell everybody else. But you've said, you know, I'm kind of preparing for what the next chapter of my life is, and most people start to wind down. I said, what I hear you doing is winding up. I had the privilege of being with you a couple years ago to see in person the work that you and your team is doing, which is incredible. What's been happening in the last couple years? What's going on even right now while you've been in the States for a few weeks?
Yeah, for sure. With your prayers, your encouragement, your financial support, and your true partnership in the ministry over these past years, we've been able to see through this Business for Life program just even literally thousands of people where their lives are transformed, rising out of poverty into the life that God has called them into. And we have we've been able to face 4 major challenges that people that are in the developing world face when they're trying to start a business. And the first is access to training. They don't have access to training. And so Business for Life provides that. The second one...
And we have slides for this, right?
Yeah.
Here we go.
There we go.
So you can see kind of the work that they're doing and what they're trying to take on.
And the second one is just simple record keeping, just keeping a cash book. A lot of people don't know whether they're making a profit or not, so we do the break-even point. The third thing would be that their business is a separate entity. People were using their money from sales thinking that's their money and would use it to pay their bills. And so when we started talking about business as a separate entity, paying themselves a salary, they were able to then start to really grow their business. And the final thing was selling on credit was a huge problem because of the communal way that Africans live. You're just always seem to be obligated to give somebody when they ask for something. And so people realize, oh, I'm stealing from my business when I do that. And so when we addressed those 4 issues, people then started to really grow and thrive. Now, since Peter and Bruce and Chad were able to come and see us, we gathered a few alumni together for them, and we thought this is such a great idea, we would continue doing it. We even hired somebody to oversee the alumni care. And we have now had 5 events meeting 188 of our alumni over the past 2 years, and we collected a bit of data that I wanted to share with you. So 100% of them were able to grow their customer base. And I can't see the slide from there.
436.
436 jobs created, and 99% of them have been able to meet their family's needs. And then as we go to the next one, the household things, we also have people that were able to pay themselves a salary and tithe regularly. That was one that came up that was a high number. Pay their school fees, pay their rent on time, build a home, buy land, build rental properties, and then even savings for retirement. So these made huge differences in people's lives. And all the time when you see numbers, there's stories behind them. Yep. And I just want to share a couple of them. One is a young woman named Wagabi who was trained as a seamstress. And she was a really good dressmaker and sold a lot of dresses, but she never seemed to get ahead. She never seemed to be able to pay her bills, support her family. She's a single mother of 2. So then when we invited her to the training, she realized that she needed more than just seamstress training. She needed to know how to run a business. And so with these simple skills that I was telling you about, it really changed her life. And she's now been able to pay her kids' school fees, support her family, keep food on the table, and grow her business.
Another person who really has a wonderful story is Stephen Musioka. And he was employed at one time at a very low salary and couldn't support his family. He heard about Business for Life, enrolled, and his life was transformed. But particularly 2 things stood out for him. What is a good business opportunity, learning what that is, and then record keeping and knowing when your business breaks even. So even while he was still on the course, he started selling milk as his business. And it wasn't long before he was selling milk that he bought from farmers and sold to people in town. He was selling 100 liters a day. That gave him some money to start a retail shop. He added, once that grew, a mobile money agency to his business. Then, knowing in Africa people are crazy about watching English and European football, he arranged to show matches on his TV to people over the weekends. That in itself was bringing in over 14,000 shillings each weekend. The combined financial resources that came in through his businesses put him in a place to buy a home and land which he used as a farm and began to produce wonderful crops to sell. But the wonderful thing about Stephen is that he had a purpose beyond profit. He grew spiritually. From being an ordinary church member, he became a deacon, then an elder, and he's now a pastor. He is providing food from his farm for underprivileged children. He's paying the school fees of a number of orphans. And more recently, he has decided to start mentoring people. And he's got a strategy where every 3 months he employs somebody to come and work alongside him on his farm and trains them in agro-business. And the last thing, in terms of where he's made an impact, is there was a terrible problem in the community of illegal alcohol brewing that was destroying a lot of lives. So he approached the government authorities, and together with them in partnership, they tackled this problem, and within 6 months, there was no illegal brewing anymore. And what was destroying lives was removed. So that's just a picture of what Business for Life is all about. Business is not the main thing. It's just a tool, a very vital tool in the part of the world where we live. And people lack knowledge so that they get skills in business to come out of poverty and enter into the abundant life that Jesus wishes for every single person. And it's the life that Business for Life is all about.
And we don't always get to see that, absolutely. We don't always get to see that. I had the privilege of being there and seeing that firsthand, to see the incredible impact that that does truly make. And I just want to remind you, church, being generous today, what we just did, contributes toward that. And so whether your cause is to support the partnerships that we have in Africa or other causes, God invites all of us to be generous and to enjoy watching lives get changed. And when it happens, we celebrate and sing about it. So we're going to sing a song, a hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness, about God's faithfulness to us. And if you want to hear more about the work that's happening in Kenya and you want to talk to Peter and Wendy, they'll be right here in the front of the stage after worship. If you want to go to Kenya and see the work yourself, they'd love to connect you to how to do that, or you want to hear more about what you can do if you care about business, that's the place to do it. Let's stand and sing, Great is Thy Faithfulness.